I know why there's so much anger over third-party lenses. I know why people are unwilling to adapt EF glass regardless of how well it works. It's not because Canon stopped production of most EF glass. So what's the reason? Stick around after this short break for all the details. But first, subscribe to this channel for a chance to win a Canon EOS R5. I'll be giving one away to one lucky subscriber once this channel reaches 100,000 subscribers. Anyone above the age of 18 with a valid mailing address is eligible. Additional terms and conditions are linked in the description down below. When I first bought the Canon EOS R5 back in July the 30th of 2020, there wasn't a whole lot of RF glass back then, and if you were buying a Canon camera back in 2020, pretty much guaranteed that you were getting that EF to RF adapter, the $100 one or the $200 one with the control ring. And while Canon released lens after lens, many being kit lenses or high-end L-series glass, they slowly discontinued EF glass, leaving many gaps in Canon's lineup. Then in 2022, Canon enforced their intellectual property on third-party lens manufacturers. They now required approval from Canon to make lenses using their intellectual property, and to date, we have not received a single approved lens approved by Canon with autofocus, although there is a rumor that we're getting the Mikey 85mm coming soon. And this news by Canon to enforce their intellectual property was disappointing to say the least. Now, for me, it was a little bit disappointing, but it really didn't disrupt my workflow. But for many, this was very frustrating. People who had bought cameras, whether it be the R7, the R10, the R8, and then to find out that they weren't going to get third-party lenses anytime soon, such as the Sigma, the 60 to 600mm, or the 150 to 600mm. It really irritated a lot of people. And if Canon thought this news would just kind of blow over, well, it didn't, and it hasn't. Still today, there's a lot of disappointment by Canon customers in the market in general over Canon's decision to enforce third-party intellectual property, or their intellectual property over third-party lens manufacturers requiring Canon's approval. And when I say disappointing, well, I'm kind of understating that. There are people, and many people, that have actually just said, that's it, I'm done. I'm selling my Canon gear. I've sold my Canon gear. I've moved over to Fuji, Sony, Nikon, or even Leica. There are certainly some fast primes I would like to see Canon make, some telephotos and zooms, but again, I'm disappointed. I do have plenty of lenses to keep me busy, so I'm not about to switch brands, and I've invested way too much money, and to be honest with you, about 95% of what I shoot is, well, easily taken care of with the lenses that I've got today. But this video isn't about me, far from it. It's to get an understanding, to understand why people are unwilling to adapt EF glass to the RF system. So I conducted a poll asking, while I could buy Sigma and Tamron EF glass and adapt it to my Canon R system, using Canon's EF to RF adapter, I'm not willing to do this. And then I offered 5 different options, and one of them was because of the rapid discontinuation of Canon EF glass. And yeah, only 5% of you cited that as being the reason for not willing to adapt EF glass. And the next option, that you don't trust the EF to RF adapter, well, a little bit more responded citing that as the reason, but again, at only 10%. Even more cited that they didn't want to buy into a closed system with 18%, but the vast majority stated that they weren't about to spend a lot of money on a new camera and not be able to maximize that investment with new RF lenses. 55% cited this reason for not wanting to adapt EF glass. And I do understand this. I have the R5. A high-resolution camera like the R5 can deliver much better results with new innovative lenses like the 28-70, the 100-300mm f2.8, than can be done with EF glass. So why am I focused on the EF to RF adapter? Well, you see, going back a couple of years ago when Canon released the EOS R, every new camera came with the EF to RF adapter. I believe it was the $100 version. And Canon figured that, well, we only have, well, 4 lenses on announcement, but we have all those 106 EF lenses and people can easily adapt those. It shouldn't be a problem. We've got great lenses. And by some, we've got the best lenses on the market. So Canon figured, hey, there wouldn't be a problem. So when they went ahead and decided to enforce their intellectual property, they were completely surprised by the backlash, by the anger, by the marketplace over this enforcement of, after all, their intellectual property that they themselves had gone ahead and spent tons of money on research and development. But this is different. A large segment of the market feels that Canon is not only preventing us from using modern third-party lenses on our new cameras, they feel that Canon is creating a closed system with few affordable options for their customers. But that left me wondering one thing. How does the marketplace, not just Canon customers, but the entire interchangeable lens camera marketplace, digital camera marketplace, well, view Canon, view other camera companies when it comes to lenses? So I conducted another poll. I asked, who do you feel has the best selection of lenses? But again, this is based off of a feeling. When I was writing the poll question, I was very careful not to narrow the responses too much by choosing adjectives such as professional or affordable. I wanted to engage as many viewers as possible. So keep in mind that these are made up of both objective and subjective viewpoints. And based on what you're thinking right now, I want you to tell me, and I want you to vote, and tell me who you think has the best selection of lenses, especially if you don't agree with these results. 36% of you stated that Canon has the best selection. Only 1% voted for Nikon, and 13% felt that Nikon had the best selection, while only 3% felt that Panasonic Lumix had the best selection for their customers. But none of us should be surprised by this result. 48% felt that Sony's E-mount had the best selection. After conducting all the research for this video, I have a much better understanding as why people are unwilling to adapt EF glass to their new camera, because after spending thousands upon thousands of dollars on a new camera, such as the Canon EOS R5, the R3, even the R8, to spend all that money on a camera and then adapt old glass that doesn't have the same optics, that doesn't have the same resolution and detail, yeah, I could understand why people are frustrated while they're waiting for more lenses. And for those that aren't waiting, switching to Sony and others, with Sony having with their E-mount, how many decades has that been around now? But Sony has so many lenses on their open mount, so I definitely understand people's frustration with Canon, why people are leaving and why they're unwilling to adapt glass. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news regarding RF lenses, RFS lenses, or what's going on with Canon regarding their intellectual property enforcement, what third-party lenses might be coming out, any changes to Canon's approval process, well then go ahead and subscribe, but make sure you also choose all notifications. And for all those other stories out there, all those minor news and rumor stories, all those stories that aren't quite big enough to have their own separate video, then go ahead and follow me on Twitter. Follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter. And I cover all sorts of information, including updates to Mica having announced, well, they announced a 85mm lens that has autofocus for the RF system, but that was way back at the beginning of the year. And only now, through Canon rumors, are we hearing that this lens might be announced in the next couple of weeks. And hopefully we get some more updates there, but also pricing information. There's lots of sales on right now. We're seeing $200 off the Canon EOS R5, the R3. We're seeing $300 off the Nikon Z6 Mark II. So all sorts of things like that I post on Twitter, X. I tweet out, let's just say I tweet out using this address here. And for those of you that like watching this channel on a regular basis, but also buy your gear at Adorama and B&H, then please consider using my affiliate links down below. I get anywhere from 2 to 6% back, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great weekend, and I hope to see you again soon. Actually, coming up on August the 29th at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be doing a live stream. And that live stream is to cover Sony's announcement of a new camera, or is it multiple cameras? According to Sony Alpha rumors, we're getting the A7C II as well as the A7CR, so multiple cameras along with the 16 to 35mm f2.8 GM2. Although from what Sony's indicating, it looks like we're just getting a single camera. Anyhow, all that live 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday, August the 29th. Join me then. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.